Alright, let's talk about Warlock 3, the end of Innocence, and the end of this trilogy, and the end of this director's career. The only thing he directed was this, Eric Freiser, however you say it. So, this movie came out in 1999, first time watch for me. I went with really low expectations because this has a 3.9 on IMDb, but I heard somebody on YouTube say that this one was better than part 2, which I was just kind of whatever about. I enjoyed like half of it, the other half I really did not like. So hearing that made me kind of raise my expectations a little bit, like, oh, maybe it's got potential to be better than part 2. No, 3.9 on IMDb, they're right. This is garbage. I did not like this movie at all. So let's just talk about the few little things I like about this movie. I thought the new Warlock actor, Bruce Payne, I thought he did good with what little he was given, and I don't mind that they replaced Julian Sands because it's not really the same character. You know, it's not like replacing Robert Englund in the middle of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's a character that doesn't even have a name. It's just the Warlock. So, and there's multiple Warlocks. So I don't care that they replaced him. I would have cared if this guy sucked, but he's fine. He does good with what he's given, and he's not really given much. And I like that Ashley Lawrence is in this movie, and she's the main character. She's not just here to be like, hey, remember me from Hellraiser? You know, she's not just in and out for, you know, fan service to Hellraiser people who love Hellraiser. No, she's the main protagonist in this movie, and she does a good job also. And another thing is, this movie has lots of nudity. I don't think there was any in the other two movies. I like that this one attempted something different from the first two. The first two were both kind of similar. They were the adventure, fantasy movies with some horror elements and some comedy. This one is 100% serious, but that's the downfall because it sucks at trying to be a serious horror movie that's suspenseful. There's none of that. But I appreciate the attempt to try something different here. This is a much more like slasher Warlock sequel. It's contained, you know, very isolated. It's very much like a slasher horror movie, but it fails to be a good one. So that will bring me right into my negatives. First up, this one just doesn't even do anything like the first two with the Warlock, like mythology, the rules. Like, it doesn't play around like the first two did, like hammering the nails and the footprints. There's nothing in here like that at all, nothing fun. And this movie just feels so straight to DVD looking. Like, the quality is another downgrade. Like, the second one felt like a little bit of a downgrade in budget and quality from the first one. This one goes down even more. It's like straight to DVD, just very small budget, very contained, one location, and the location doesn't even look good. It's not even atmospheric, this setting. It's overlit. I just don't like the look of this movie, the cinematography. There's one interesting shot towards the beginning, but then the rest is just flatly shot and directed. I instantly hated the soundtrack in this movie. Lots of 90s pop songs and like hip-hop songs playing over the opening credits and the closing credits. Another thing I don't like about it is just how fucking generic it is. It is so generic and lazily written. There are so many things in here from 100 other freaking horror movies. You got hollow characters that you've seen in other horror movies that are just so paint by numbers and you don't care about any of them. The little amount of gore you get in this movie looks cheap and awful, and then they decide to randomly insert these 2-3 shots into the movie again and again and again, and each time you get to hear a eagle or some kind of bird screeching and some crows cawing like 100 times, and it's so goddamn annoying. This movie has dream sequences, nightmare sequences that you think are like foreshadowing things, but then they go nowhere. So it's like, what was that about? And, you know, I don't like the fake outs, and you got some of those, and you get fake out friend scares right in the beginning. It opens up with like a friend fake out scare. There's no suspense. There's no good tension in this movie at all because you don't care about them, and there's no good buildup of any tension in the movie. And also, it's boring. I thought this movie was so goddamn boring. I kept checking my watch, like, how far into this am I? And that's just the cardinal sin of filmmaking. You should never make your film boring, and that's what this was. And because there's no charm, there's no fun, there's nothing So final thoughts, I think this is very deserving of its low rating on IMDb because it's a boring mess that takes itself way too seriously while crafting zero suspense and very cheap effects with dull atmosphere and hollow characters that you could give a shit less about. Unfortunately, it's just another drop in quality, budget, and now creativity in this Warlock trilogy. So when it comes to Warlock 3, the end of Innocence, this movie is a giant waste of time. Alright, I'm just going to quickly rush through this spoiler discussion. So this movie opens up in the 1600s, 1673, remember that number. And so we get this odd slow-mo shot. So it's just the director's style, not a fan of it. There are some really weird sequences later on also. Just the editing, it's almost like a music video. I don't like it. Felt like it was trying to be Saul before Saul in some moments. It was just really odd. And then, the little girl, she disappears, and her name was Chris, right? Is that supposed to be the main girl? It's been a couple days since I've watched this movie, so I don't even remember names anymore. The one interesting shot in this movie was an interesting way to introduce us to the characters as the audience. It went from door to door. It would it's like at a college, I guess, right? And it would fade into the door and then fade back out. They made it look like it was all one shot, and it would go through the door and show whoever was inside doing whatever they're doing, and then it would come back out and go next door, show that person. So it was an interesting shot, but unfortunately, that's the only creativity you get with the camera work here. So anyways, the maintenance guy, he just falls to his death. So that's the first kill, and no scream. Thought that was interesting. If I was falling to my death, I'd make some noises, but the guy just falls making zero sounds. And we get our crazy Ralph chick warning them not to go to the place. Very generic. It's it's 1999. Can we do something else now? Ooh, don't go there. It's cursed. It's got a death curse, that house. And then we get this random ass flashbacks. The way the flashbacks are handled in this movie, it just feels like they're shoehorned in. We need to throw a flashback in now. It just comes out of nowhere. It's just weird. But I like the visual of the bleeding doll eyes. That was an interesting visual. So then we get this dumbass mirror scare. She's looking in the mirror, then she looks away, and then her reflection starts doing some shit. And then we get a major tit tease from Ashley Lawrence. So did not like that. Then I just noticed some stupid little continuity error between shots where the stoner guy, he has a joint in his mouth, but then it cuts to a different shot and it's in his hand, and then it cuts right back to the other shot and it's right back in his mouth. We get the shortest cleaning up montage I talked about in part 2. We had the shortest training montage. In this one, they're cleaning up, but it's they're touching, a plate and scrubbing it, and then it's over. It was the shortest cleaning up montage I've ever seen. We find out that her great grandmother was a witch, and then she somehow got the daughter back and bricked in, trapped the Warlock in there, but now he's loose. We don't find out how he escaped his prison down there. But yeah, I love how she just lets him walk around. The Warlock just invites himself in. He's like, I'm an architect, believe me. Doesn't show any ID or any proof that he really is an architect. He could just be some creep trying to go in and steal shit. But she just lets him in and walks around on his own. He takes the historian's throat and rips it out, like Roadhouse. But that was the one gore effect in the movie. But it was very quick, so you couldn't really see anything. And then he hides his body in the attic like a slasher movie. The body falls down later on. So like I said, this movie's kind of like a slasher movie, but it's a shit one. So yeah, and then I love how easily the witch friend with the playing cards or whatever they are, tarot cards, she just immediately is onto him. You're a warlock, I know who you are. Because he was asking questions? I didn't get that. Oh, he's being very curious about our friend Chris, or whatever her name is. There's only one explanation. He's got to be a warlock. So that was a major leap. And then, they just start handing him shit. They have to hand him personal items for him to curse them and kill them and make them do whatever he wants, I guess. And they just keep quickly handing him shit oh, thanks for talking to me, pal. Here's my love poem for this chick that I wrote about her. You should have this. He would give a shit. about your love poem about this girl. Yeah, you should have it. Like, fuck out of here. Like, so dumb. And then the other two, the kinky ones, they give him off camera some picture that she drew, Ashley Lawrence, of them. Like, here, you should take this portrait of us. You deserve it as a gift. Like, what a shit gift. And then the one friend turns into glass, very Wishmaster, like King Hodder's character. And then, of course, he hits her and she shatters. It's like the visual effect in the movie. And there's some awful visual effects later on when she's like trying to hit him and like there's like this green glow coming off of it. It just looks awful. And then there's like T-Rex dinosaur roars sound effects later on that I heard that sounded very Jurassic Park. It's like, where the fuck is this coming from? I expected the T-Rex to come barging into the house. It's like, why am I hearing a dinosaur? So she gets a hammer and she wants to like, because they're all trapped in, she gets a hammer and instead of like trying to hammer out a window or hammer out the wooden door, that'd be easier to break through. She tries to hammer her way through like the cement wall. You're going to have to hit that a million times and hurt your hand. Like, that was just ridiculous. Try hammering down the wooden door, not the cement wall. That was just dumb. And then, so we get a math error here. So the movie opens up in 1673, and then he says, I've been waiting over 350 years for you. So it's the year 2023. And then all of a sudden he has like a cheesy, deep demon voice. I didn't care for that. And then we get these insert shots that come with this eagle bird screeching sound like 1,000 times. You could play a drinking game and die. That dream sequence she had where she sees her redheaded friend, who's very attractive, she sees her in a dream on the table, naked, strapped up with like a knife in her chest. I was like, oh, is that foreshadowing something? And then, like, at one point, she was given a picture from the Warlock. He gave her a gift, and it was like a picture of somebody being strapped to a table. So I was like, oh, so we're foreshadowing something? Nope, that went nowhere. There's like a hidden knife inside the doll, and it's the one knife that can kill the Warlock, and she takes it and stabs the Warlock, and then he turns into a goat demon. So that's what he really looks like on the inside. He's like a goat. Kind of looks like Krampus in A Christmas Horror Story, but worse looking, just a goat. What the fuck? Since when did the Warlock become a goat demon? I don't know, like in the first movie, it was just a guy with powers. He wasn't a demon. And then in the second one, he was the son of Satan, and now in this one, he's a goat demon. So they just keep changing what a Warlock is. I'm not, I don't know very much about Warlocks, but I don't think they're goat demons, are they? So no tears are shed in this movie for her dead friends. All her shitty friends are killed. I thought she liked them, but I guess not, because by the end of the movie, she just walks down the road. Bye-bye. Like, no tears, no grief, no remorse, no moment for her friends. Because they all had to turn against her. That was another weird thing about the movie, was kind of like in part 2, he couldn't just like grab the stones. He had to be given them. He had to make her friends turn against her and say that it was okay for him to take her or kill her or something. So he would torture them into saying, okay, fine, you can have her. Which is just unnecessary. Like, what if he just killed them all? Then he wouldn't be able to get, permission if they were all dead. So, but he was killing them. I don't know. There's some plot holes in here. But yeah, then we get some more pop songs at the end during the credits I do not fucking like. So that's really all I gotta say. Fuck this movie. I didn't like it. But what are your thoughts? I'm sure some of you like it. And you'll tell me how wrong I am in the comments below. But go right ahead. I don't care. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's just an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.